Once again, the health of this live stream is critical. Therefore, I will wait a few minutes in order for the health of the live stream to correct itself so that we can be guaranteed to have a smooth stream. So what I will continue to do from this live stream forward is I will always include a timestamp below every live stream. That timestamp will be a marker to show where the actual discussion begins. Another thing that I am learning to be patient and wait on is also an audience. Every time I go live, it seems like there is an issue with my live streams being announced. So I just have to wait on people to notice. Hi, Yanni, you back with me? Let me put my glasses on because I can't see. Where are my other glasses at? It's time for me to buy all new glasses. I got pieces of glasses. One day I'm going to get on here and have taped glasses. It's going to be multi-structured glasses. Hi, Love Rachel. It's kicking my rump. It's kicking butt. I've been in my zone doing this right here. It's like the spirit, the energy is trying to irritate me, but I ain't falling for it. Now, this live stream is going to be short. I 100% believe it's going to be under 45 minutes. I'm attempting to, do things live to bring awareness that I'm here active on YouTube and ready to interact. I do believe about 10 p.m. I'm going to be answering any burning questions. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. What's the day? The 19th? March 19th. This is when this video is being made. Yeah. I've been in and out, work sick, cat's problem solving. The devil is a punk. Yes, it is. He, she, it is a punk no matter how you spit it. I know, it gotta know it's a punk. You call it a punk. I know I just walk and cuss the fuss, call it a punk, bitch ass all the time. Let me tell you what's been happening to me, Yanni, in the last 3 days. The last 3 days, I have spent more time at home by myself than I usually do. And I've been sitting here doing my research, work, whatever I'm going to do, and somebody keeps coming to my door, and they knocking. Now, the first time it happened, I think I was about to go live. And so I was like huffing and puffing, like every time I go live, somebody knocking my door. So I'm like, who is it? But at the same time, simultaneously, I'm getting up and I'm time period. It wasn't a time for anybody to even be here, but okay. Plus, I didn't hear nobody walk up. I didn't hear, a car. I didn't hear anything. So I'm like, okay. It happened the next day. I'm sitting on the couch and all of a sudden I hear a lady. And she comes up and she's talking, but her whatever she's talking about is muffled. And so I'm like, wow. So as I can hear her progressing toward the house, I'm getting up off the couch and I'm progressing toward the door. While all of this is going on, my little top-notch security, my dog Scrappy, is barking, yap, 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 because he hears her coming too. The person hits the door, hits the screen, and at the time, I'm opening the door. It's nobody there. Tell me why it just happened again about an hour ago. It happened right in between the last live stream I did and this one. The same thing. I heard, no, it wasn't a woman or anything, but I heard somebody turning the knob to the storm door, turning it, and jerking it. And the dog started barking, and I'm listening. I swear. I'm like, wow, what is it that's so eager to visit with me? And it's turning the knob. And so I walked up on the door. Again, I got very keen hearing. Dog barking. So I'm telling the dog, shut. And so he kind of quiet because, now, mind you, this is the third time it's happened. So the dog even like, what's going on? And so I opened up the door and Nothing's there. And in that moment, I open the door. As soon as I open the door, my eyes on it, it stopped, you know, being, what do you call it, ruffled with or messed with. I'm like, something's want to visit. And I'm assuming it's a woman. If they ain't got no money, no good health, no prosperity, better go to hell. That's the only place it's welcome at. Don't come fucking with me and mine. I be cussing. I be cussing like a mug. Well, thank you for listening to my supernatural story. And once again, welcome here to Can Angels Fly Tarot Live. I'm Nancy. And today we're here to talk about another subject matter. And the subject matter is social engineering. There's something else I want to look up, but I'll just stick with social engineering. And the reason why we're talking about social engineering, it is not because it's an interest of mine. It is because it is turned up in the astrological energies that are unfolding. And so I have decided to create a few videos that have some images in them, so they will be more entertaining and a little more interactive, and maybe can send a subliminal like message about the subject matters, and you may pick up on that even if I don't articulate it correctly. That's my plan. And so what we're looking at is at the current astrological energies and what is basically creating even the potential for what is to come in our lives. You know, when I say our lives, I'm talking me, yours, and every individual in humanity. And I have to vent one more time. I am getting tired of this YouTube. Ain't no god dang way that is only a couple people coming here when I go live. And then every time I go live, every time I make a video, whether tarot or not, my subscriber count go down. They have me running backwards. It's already been ridiculous. Now it's past ridiculous. This is annoying. So I'm holding on by the skin of my teeth. With that being said, if you like the content here at Can Angels Fly Tarot, please like, please share. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Now what you talking about, Yanni? That's a trip. How did that energy feel at your door? You know what? I didn't feel any malice. I didn't feel any malice. I didn't even feel like it was wanting anything from me, like for help. It's more like, it seems like maybe a trying. It has to be trying to, I guess, see or experience my response. And I guess it's not the response that whatever it is believes it should be. I don't know. But I ain't got time for his mess. I ain't got time for his mess. So, let's begin. Again, what is this live stream about, or this video about? It is about basically social engineering. Why are we talking about it? Because the current astrological energies suggest that it's highly important and relevant to the experiences we are having, and those experiences we will soon have. And it also has to do with the creation of our new paradigm or our new world order. Hey, Jordan, I was just saying I hadn't seen you except for when I viewed your video. So I'm happy to see you here. And thank you for dropping by. And I was just saying, oh, I didn't just say it now. But until there is a significant amount of writing in the chat, I can't see it because my camera blocks it. It's just shy or gets your attention. Yeah, either shy, want my attention, whatever. I don't have time to be playing with nothing. Nothing and nobody. What's Jordan Page? I think it's actually his name, Jordan Oliver. Yeah, and so let's see. Now when we start talking about social engineering, we are, when I say we, me, you, every individual in humanity, or whoever holds interest in astrology, the potential astrology has to help us live the best lives we can possibly live. So, when we are talking about social engineering, we are directly pointed to the 11th house of Aquarius. The 11th house of Aquarius is a part of the astrological makeup. And the 11th house represents like the groups that you belong to. What are some groups that we belong to? We belong to what they call it, sororities, fraternities, book clubs, just any grouping of people that have a shared interest or goal. And they work together. They become allies. They collaborate in order to reach a particular goal. Now, each member, including oneself, has their very own unique goal. It's something that they want to acquire. And it's easier to acquire it through joining a group. Churches or religious institutions are other social groups or institutions. It's churches, religious groups, book clubs, friendships. It's like the gathering place of like-minded people. People with special interest groups, militant groups, different things like that. Now, the 11th house is the house of Aquarius. You know, the Aquarius is the water bearer. And, you know, the water bearer in the tarot card is represented like the star card. And the star card represents your hopes, your wishes, and dreams, you know. And so when a star card appears in a tarot reader and it's saying, hey, you person, you have a hope, wish, and dream that you want to accomplish. It is possible that at this point in time in your life, it will suit you well to go join forces with others to get allies. Why? Because they may have resources, referrals, and you know, they have something to add to you. They can be a catalyst to you getting what you want. So the 11th house really talks about large social networks that link the whole grid of networks. Excuse me, y'all. Y'all know I'm getting overcome. And so back to Aquarius. Now, on the star card, there's a large person, and they're kneeling. It almost looks like a giant is kneeling. So you think of a god kneeling at the shore. One leg is, on the shore. The other is in the water, and the god is pouring the water vessel out, watering the earth. And so what we're talking about is this bridge between physicality, or this connection between physicality, the emotional connections, using one's intuitions in order to achieve the desired hope. Now that originally, when I say that, I mean as God, a part of God's initial or original plan, was meant to be a unique experience for us all. What do I mean? We each develop our own interests in something, and we each pursue something that is our heart's desires. And many times, yes, in life, there's a blockage for one reason or another. I hope this thing doesn't go out because I can't even see the other board. Is it red? Oh, I think it's working. And so sometimes we got to ask for help. You know, these are people, we'll ask them for help because it's most likely, again, they have the resources or the social connects. They got something they can add to you to help you make it. And at the same time, because y'all interests are so close, you probably got something you can give them and help them make it. Overall, an organization has something in common. And that goal can be acquired, especially with everybody attacking it from different angles, or everybody's contributing different things to a common cause. And so that Aquarius energy is very powerful when it comes to humanity creating their new paradigm, our new world, our reality. And that's why this particular energy is real important at this time. Because we are shifting from what? An old paradigm into a new paradigm. We are now entering into that proverbial new world order, whether you know it or not. It is coming. We are at a critical moment of change. And so what we will end up experiencing has a lot to do with the efforts we make. As mentioned, when it has to do with Aquarius, it shows us, or the 11th house Aquarius, it shows us that these efforts we can't do alone. We're going to have to join forces with others in order to make things happen. Let me see what y'all talking about before I move forward. This is short, and I'll be answering burning questions about 10 p.m. And this ain't gonna last long. Was hanging out with a friend. I saw that you went live earlier, so I had to catch this one. How's your day going? It's going pretty good. Bro, it doesn't even feel real to me anymore, honey. You know what? I've been okay. I've been in my space doing what I do, researching and studying and doing my contemplation, meditation, everything that I do. But, let's see. Is this, I'm trying to see, Jordan, because you might hit on something. Am I dealing with that now? Because I got back-to-back stuff I want to make. If I could just stay inspired and motivated. YouTube trying to steal my inspiration. Dirty mother. I ain't gonna cuss. This is a, what they call it? PG video. But I want to cuss. Stealing my morale. Alright, now I'm trying to see, am I about to deal with, that's supposed to be over here. I don't think I'm dealing with that right now. But you said, Jordan, the world don't feel real. I don't think I'm dealing with that. Ooh, it relates to something I've been doing. So, it relates to something I'm trying to see. What's the word? Not feeling real. Oh, yes. Does it have to do with this one? Have to do with this one. Yeah, it has to do with the next one. That's a whole nother thing. Okay. So, again, this live stream is short. So, let's move forward so y'all can go ahead and hang out. Hopefully, this works. I hope you can see the image. Anybody know what this image represents? Kinda. Oh. Anybody know that? Well, it's Frankenstein. It's the movie Frankenstein. And the movie was in 1944. I think it's called The House of Frankenstein. I had it written, so I had stuff everywhere, y'all. I think it's The House of Frankenstein from 1944. And why have I selected to use this image in order to create a meme for this live? I guess that would be the right terminology. It is because we're talking about social engineering. before I activated this meme, I was just saying that the 11th house Aquarius is a unique experience that each of us have been gifted in the design of life to get to this point where if we really want to reach our heart's desires, we're going to have to work with another on a common goal and an interest. But we get there through our own unique self. We are able to get there through our own unique, fabulous self-expression. And when we get there, when it's done right, and we collaborate with others, we're able to do whatever works are necessary to create the reality that we dream of. A reality that's beneficial to everyone. But the world that we live in now is taking that away from us. It has. Now, this is not the first time in the history of humanity that this has happened. No. We have moved through multiple paradigm shifts. Here we are once again, moving from one paradigm to the next. The last paradigm shift, I think that people were completely blind. But divinity has allowed us to be able to see this time if we're only willing to look. And so we are going to look today to see how that part of our experience of being able to work together in order to create the reality of our heart's desires, our shared heart's desire, has been taken away from us. We've been swindled. And the way it has been done is through social engineering. And Dr. Frankenstein and his monster, I would say that right, are excellent. This team is an excellent example of what I mean by social engineering. So in our real live world, who would be Dr. Frankenstein? Who is such a mad scientist, such a narcissistic, egotistical explorer, that they would move to experiment, to discover, and to execute ways to mold people's will. Well, let me start. Thought, beliefs, will, intent, and action. Who would be that brazen? I guess it's a word. Brazen. I'll look it up afterwards. Well, examples in our real world of those type of nutty professors are some government officials. These are people that hold more higher ranking positions in our world. Many of them are our geniuses. Again, government officials, scientists, elitists, the laws, and the whole, law enforcement, jurisdiction, judicial system, as well as, I said geniuses, but other intellectually superior people. They would be Dr. Frankenstein. Insane and mad with power. And they wield that power over the rest of humanity. So now let's talk about Dr. Frankenstein creation, which is the monster. We usually call it Frankenstein, but that's just the monster. The monster. Who in this real physical world would be the monster? Monster. Yep, that's right. Me, you, and every individual in humanity that do not fit into the bracket of Dr. Frankenstein, the mad scientist. Each of us is a creation of our own personal, mad, egotistical, and narcissistic Dr. Frankensteins. Yes, we are. So, right now, in brief, I'm going to talk about how we have been socially engineered and why. I'll start with the why. We have been socially engineered to do the will of Dr. Frankenstein. I'll say this another way. We have been socially engineered or molded in order to do the will of the government, the judicial system, or through the judicial system, the elitists, the intellectual superiors or geniuses. And what is it that they want us to do? Yes, they want us to create the reality that they want. They want us to create the world that they envision. They want us to create their new world order or paradigm, however you like to label it. And in order to do that, they had to mold our way of thinking, our hopes, our will, our beliefs, and our actions in order to make us work together in order to build what they envision. That's where we are now. And that is a part of what is having an impact upon our individual lives as well as the world at large. So, right now we're going to talk about the areas of social engineering. So, I did write a definition down. God dang it. I have so many notes. And what I wanted to describe was the social engineering. Well, let me describe. Oh, I know what I need to say. Before we go any further. I want to talk about the term sociology. Now, sociology is, I can't believe I don't have that definition. Too many notes. Oh, I got this from offline and I can't even read it. It's from www.enotes.com. And it's a description or a definition of sociology. Now, sociology is a study of society or societies. And so societies are broken up into various structures or parts. Why? So it could be managed. And so right now we're talking about social structures. And it's a way, what is a social structure? It is a way to the way a society is organized. Social structure is the way societies are organized. One simple example is living in an urban area versus the suburban area. That is a organization tactic. Organization tactic. And there's so many more. Let's see. It is about the way the various parts of society fit together and work together. What does that mean when we start talking about social structures? Talking about in most communities, you got a fire station, a fireman. You got the residential area with the homes, the families. You got some small businesses. You go downtown, you got big businesses. You got city parks, yada, yada, yada. All of these are various social structures. And so sociology studies these, all of these various parts and how they fit together. The structure is the actual social or part of society that is in place, such as the fireman or the police people are the residential. That's the structure. But sociology is the study of those various parts or components and how they interact with each other. It looks at what they have in common and what they don't have in common. So why do I think it's important to share that? Because I'm saying this fool right here, our Dr. Frankenstein over here, he studied all that about each and every last one of us. We know that it is estimated to be 7.5 billion with a B people in the world. And all 7.5 billion people in the world have been studied under the academic field of sociology. Those elitists, those people in high places, those people that are intellectually superior to the majority of humanity, they know us, and they know us well. And they use that information that has to do with being in the human condition and various other things in order to learn how to manipulate us. They know how to get the best out of us, and they also know how to manipulate us. Remember, they are the mad scientists of our times. And their intent, I think is the word, is to social engineer us to become a creature that will do their bid. And what bid do they want? They want to see their reality that they envision come into being. That is a big project. And it was no way in heaven or hell that they could have done that alone. And so they had to manipulate all of humanity. Yes, 7.5 billion people, give or take. It depends on the period and time in the history of humanity in order to make that happen. And so right now, in short, because this is a very short live stream, I want to talk about the just a few sectors. I'll say, where am I? I'm trying to stay in the frame. Few sectors of the of a social structure, and then we're gonna move on after I read the chat. That's about to shift and come to an end. I can't see the rest. Trees, waterfalls, real. So true. The fake world isn't real. The fake world, the world doesn't see. Oh yeah. Okay. Right now we're going to talk about some of the what do I say? The structures that make up our society. And understand this is a particular branch of knowledge that has been studied for hundreds of years by the intellectual or the scholars. They know us well. They have mapped meaning documented, and mapped all of their findings. And you can learn more about that when you look at sociology mapping or something like that. They literally map this. And they usually share with us publicly all the good stuff they find. They don't usually share the bad stuff. Otherwise, you will learn about the dark side. So, just talking about some of the various social structures. Number one, dealing with social structures, the study of sociology, studying the people, what they may be looking at, and how it all fits and works together, how you will interact with each other, and what your potential is number one, of course, are the people. Kinship, relationships, family. This is what they've studied. This is what they use against us. And this is sociology. They also study in any given area, demographic area, and collectively, language, the similarities, the differences, beliefs, religion, interpersonal interaction, how we interact with each other, especially in areas where there's a lot of differences. Age groups, human behavior itself, being in the human condition, meaning you got to satisfy the prerequisites to live, such as hunger and food. They study that too. How you going to act if you ain't got what you need to survive. They study that. Environments, the environment itself, as far as the vegetation or the plant life around, the bird life, they study all of that and how you interact with it and how it helps to balance the ecosystem, the immediate ecosystem that you reside in, both intimately and collectively, or locally as well as overall globally. Labor and work, law, the economy or finances and money, classism or social casting or classes. You know, when you talk about class, what do you mean? Lower class, high class, high maintenance, you know, whatever social classes are. They study the cultures or the cults, the various cults that reside in any given geographic area. Again, that's from the most interpersonal areas, including globally or collectively, as well as the governments. Now, those are just different examples of the various areas that are studied or have been studied intensely for hundreds of years relative to sociology or studying of society or various societies and how the people within those societies interact, as well as how each one of those societies interact with those abroad, those on the other side of the sea and ocean. They done literally mapped all this out. Now again, what you won't see or you have to really search for is the negative stuff. They won't tell you about the dark stuff. They'll tell you about the light stuff. And I started to share that here, where they talk about the different personality types. And they say certain people are introverted, extroverted, near possible character traits or behaviors. That's the light side of it. Some of those studies have revealed some really hard-hitting, heavy stuff. And they know exactly what buttons to push. Never forget, we are dealing with our own Dr. Frankenstein. And what is Dr. Frankenstein's intent? It is to make sure that society creates the reality that he envisions. And the reality that he envisions, of course, has him living the best life he could possibly live. Okay, now we're almost done. Am I supposed to talk about that? Yes. Okay, I did that. I don't know, that's just, I am supposed to talk about that. Okay, now this is in closing. Remember, now we're talking about the monster. The monster represents an individual person, whether it's me, you, or any other individual in humanity, being socially engineered to do what those in power want them to do. So right now, we're talking about all the nuts. Remember, Frankenstein had the nuts on his neck, bolts, and stitches that do what? They dumb down the individual, the sheeple, that kind of thing. Not only does it dumb people in humanity, doesn't matter which race, down, it also has made us, many of us are godless people, and we can't see this. And don't forget, this is not a religious channel. All I do is look at the facts. So, here is the changes that have been made. Just some. These are just some of the basic changes that have been made to our makeup to make us a monster here in this realm. And it is, we are being made socially engineered and modified to have short attention spans. With a short attention span, you can't get nothing done and you can't figure nothing out. The next thing is to be naive. Then it is a lack of comprehension. Do you remember how dumb, if you ever looked at Frankenstein, especially this older version from 1944, you will see that Frankenstein was quite an imbecile and stupid. And that's one of the things they have done to us too. Led us to have a lack of comprehension and to be stupid. The other thing is to be self-absorbed and egotistical, but not as egotistical as Dr. Frankenstein. We have been modified, socially engineered, and modified to be physically weak, fat, sick, ill, etc., etc. We know that happens through a lack of being able to get out. It has to do directly with our diet. Again, remember, diet is one of the areas that are studied when it comes to sociology. So they know what you need to make you your best, and they know what to keep away from you to make you your worst. But I continue. What else are some of the basics that we have been socially engineered to be like? Hateful and bias. That's social engineering too. You often heard nobody's born racist, they are taught it. That's a form of social engineering. And who taught the parents to be biased? What situations and circumstances existed to begin to frame their mind for work, or help them to create their disposition? It was something outside of themselves. And this is all planned. And so they have been socially engineered to be biased. The next thing is we have been socially engineered to be untrustworthy. We don't even trust our neighbors. Hell, we don't trust half our family members. But that's also a part of social engineering. And it goes so very deep. I ask you to continue to ride the wave with me just a few more minutes. The next thing is that we've been socially engineered to be confused. To have multiple personalities. And learn how to deal with them. I'll talk about them too. But a lot of people have been socially engineered to have multiple personalities. Could you imagine having to deal with multiple personalities, especially later in your life, and you don't know what's going on? At least I've always dealt with many personalities, so I already knew what I was dealing with. I've always been a spiritual person. But that's not the case for everyone. And that can be socially engineered and induced through what? Drug usage. That goes back into drugs being flooded into certain communities. And the devil cannot be contained. And so it went further than they thought it would. And now we have a lot of people with what is deemed mental illness. One of the diagnoses is multiple personalities. We have been and still are being socially engineered. Into what? Monsters. I continue. How about we are being socially engineered to be apathetic or indifferent or desensitized? We see people now that are hurt, harmed, killed, maimed on TV, public media, right before our eyes. We say, ooh, that's horrible. But our soul is not moved. That's desensitized. Next, we are being socially engineered to be impulsive and or brainless or thick-headed. Now, that thick-headed one is serious. That in past times when we were in a healthy state, you learned by trial and error. But now that we've been socially engineered to have a thick head, people no longer are learning from trial and error, making the same mistakes over and over and over again until either they destroy themselves or another. All of these symptoms, all of these effects, all of these conditions, because you know Frankenstein had to have some conditions, have been brought on by social, what do they call it? Engineering. And this is the real deep part. This is why it's so hard to see, is that we are getting hit from every angle. And again, it's been going on for hundreds of years. But just in the last about 80, 90 years has really sped up. And so, the last things last. Y'all holding on with me riding away. Thank y'all so much for coming here to Can Angels Fly Tarot and talk about social engineering, finding out the significance of it and how it plays, is relevant to the current astrological energy. Why is it important? Because what I want you to get you to see before I finish what I have written here, because you know I forget, is that the reason why this is significant is because, remember, we are creating our reality. We are moving into the new paradigm. We are in a new world order, and we created it, but we were socially engineered to become monstrous in this world. And therefore, what we have made, the undertone, the energy, the spirit of that which will govern our reality is directly related to that dark, negative energy that we were manipulated into executing. Remember, Dr. Frankenstein, our Dr. Frankensteins, stole our freedom, stole our will and our ability to dream for ourselves, to think for ourselves, to, plan and move passionately toward it and naturally gravitate to others to form alliances to make it happen. He stole that through social engineering. And through social engineering was able to manipulate us, number one, mold us to the mindsets, the thoughts, and the beliefs that he wanted, Dr. Frankenstein, in order to come together, because it's a natural process, come together with others in order to create the reality he envisioned. And so now I'm going to finish this last thing. And what this last thing is about is I'm just going to draw some examples or speak about some examples of social engineering. Excuse me. What did I got here? Oh, I wrote down lost paradise or something. I didn't go any further with it, but it's like a lost paradise. We lost our personal paradise through social engineering. And understanding that social engineering is not a fluke. It is a major study, is a major academic discipline. It is a branch of knowledge. There are scholars and geniuses in this field that have studied men and women and children, the old, the young, the black, the white, any human being here from every aspect and angle, and have mapped it. They know how to bring out the best in us, and they know how to bring out the worst in us. And what we know for certain is they bought out of us what they needed in order to help them bring the reality they envisioned into existence. And that reality thus far looks like it will consist of cryptocurrency, meaning that you and me and everybody that will be here during that season in the history of humanity won't hold resources in their hand. Resources are the life-sustaining requirements that you need, like food, water, those kind of things, different gems and metals and stuff. No, you will have, what do they call cryptocurrency? We're going to talk about that. The upcoming reality that is unfolding, our future, seems to consist of a lot of biases. That's what they wanted. And they wanted the biases for a reason, so that they could do what? Divide the people in the world and make sure they stay divided, so that they could do what? Keep all the natural resources. What else will we see? What did they social engineer us to help bring into existence? They social engineered us to go out and mine all of the precious metals and gems and everything and give it over to them and trust them to create things that will help sustain our lives collectively. but they hoarded them. And then it seems like in some places, they've already created technology that tracks every human being, that scores a person's existence in this reality, that can ultimately cause them to be ostracized or not get their cryptocurrency so that they can buy into their natural resources. We have socially been engineered to hurt each other, to destroy each other, to play hate on each other. All in an attempt to do what? In the famous words of Ebenezer Scrooge, is to decrease the world's population so that they can do what? Have all the natural resources to themselves. See, if we're around, then that means that they have to give us a ration. And as long as rations have to be handed out, that means works to dig those rations up have to continue. And right now, in the history of humanity, Earth needs a break. So they know that the digging has to stop. She's already having sinkholes and volcanic eruptions that are increasing. See, she's upset. She's sick. And so they know that. So they got to give her a break. But I digress from that. And now I'm going to finish. And what did I say I was going to talk about? I'm going to talk about how people like myself, possibly you, people that have been socially engineered, ways that we have socially been engineered. How about in the field of education? Yes. Were you a person that was made to go to school ages, now go 1 through K. 1 through K. And when we move through the traditional public or private school sector in order to gain our education, to pursue our education, it is a progressive a progression through the curriculum. If you do well, you advance through and graduate one degree after the other. But if you fail to progress through the curriculum in an effective manner, then usually a person is a dropout or they are failed. And that directly affects and influences their life in a way that they may not be able to take care of themselves. But why did so many people choose to go to school? Private, public, whatever. Why? It was because we have been socially engineered to do so. In prior times, historically, one could move through life living and learning directly from life. Some people found that they were excellent fishers, and so they became fishermen. Others found they were excellent herbalists through trial and error, and so they became herbalists. And they would pass that down to those that were like them. And everybody had their line of work. Everybody contributed to the sustaining of the life of themselves and those around them through that form of education. Still talking about how some of us have been socially engineered. How about when it comes to economics? Kind of briefly talked about it. Economics, basically money. Now, social engineering has led the majority of humanity to not realize that it's the natural resources, the minerals, the gems, precious metals, etc., that have value. Have you ever seen the Queen of England? Have you ever seen her neck bare? What does she have on? Have you ever looked at the Pope? What they call it? He give his Benedict or something. Have you ever seen the Pope? He is adorned with all forms of precious metals. You'll never see him without such things. Where does gold and silver and all these precious metals and stones and minerals get their value from? Their value comes because they have the ability to sustain life if used appropriately. Money, talking about economics being socially engineered. We forgot about that. What am I saying? We've been socially engineered to forget that it is the natural resources that hold value. We have been socially engineered to believe that paper currency or even cryptocurrency is what has value or is wealth. And because we have forgotten that, we also have been socially engineered to not be able to discern what is real and what is fake. We've also been socially engineered on the way we think, remember, and therefore how we act. Ninth house of Sagittarius, how you think, how you act. Is when you, am I looking like Frankenstein? I'm trying to move around so it just won't get, I'm coming y'all, I'm just playing. Social engineering, y'all. See, I be playing and forget. That's the old stuff. That's the old meeting the young. The old Nancy meeting the young Nancy. We forget. Based on social engineering, we have been led to think that it is appropriate, or we are wealthy if we spend our stuff, our money that we earn on such things as shoes and clothes and the various bells and whistles and the glitz and glamour. The name brand. Not realizing none of it is valuable, nor is it wealth, nor can you take it to your grave. Most of it ain't the stuff you can hand down. But that's a part of social engineering. Forgetting what is real, being able to discern what is real. Many of us, most of us, we have been socially engineered to forget such things. It was something else I wanted to talk about when it comes to economics. Oh, and keeping with what I was just saying about not being able to discern about what's real and what's not. When they talk about what's real, what defines real? What is really wealth? Well, that's anything that you need to keep you alive. I don't think nothing much else matters. You only need what you need to keep it alive. But then there's this other side. And the other side is luxury. Luxury is nice. I'm not down to luxury. But it's being able to discern and tell the difference. And to prioritize. Reason people can't do that, again, they've been socially engineered not to be able to. Through such things as advertisement and models and all that kind of stuff. And I personally don't think anything wrong with it because I am conscious and I've always been. And so what is this channel about? What is this video about? What is anything that I do about? It's about making you conscious as you move through this age of deception. I was saying in the last live stream, this is a period of the illusionist. So, luxury. Luxury is just anything else that enhances life. You know, it makes it easier. It makes it more beautiful. But you can do without it. It ain't going to save your life. See, that is something that we've been socially engineered not to be able to tell the difference between. We'll talk about that. Another thing that people aren't aware of, been socially engineered to forget, is remember I was talking about how natural resources of various kind, whether it's a fish, water, some gem, mineral, or some tree like bamboo. You do so many things with it. You make flour out of some barks on certain trees, saps or syrups. Natural resources is what we need to help assist us to live. Is that people don't even understand that money was put in place as a means to help distribute natural resources, but it was corrupted. Why did we forget? because we've been socially engineered over decades, in that case, to believe or to not understand that money is a means of distribution. And we also don't understand that it's corrupted. Okay, last one, then I'm going to let y'all go. We take a break and we'll read some tarot cards in the next live stream. Let me read over here and see if y'all said anything. Because without these glasses, I don't... Oh, I forgot I got to be Frankenstein. I wish I could make his body move. Frankenstein, yeah. Woo. How to do it, Frank. Show him how to do it, Frank. Take it, Frank. Dr. Sabi on YouTube knows Google ever. Oh, he never was educated. See? Yep. Master narcissists, we are victims of wow. He cured AIDS. He mysteriously died 2 years ago. Yeah, I've heard that about him. I had never heard about him before. But of course, someone who cures such things as AIDS, I do believe anything that is manufactured here can be disassembled here. And I'm saying if AIDS exists in this physical realm, then there is the antidote for it here as well. It's just like one of those, what do you call it, when you play in a video game, you got to go find this part to take it over here to advance in the game. Same thing here. I really believe that's how it is. And so, yeah, he probably most likely found a cure, and they offed him because that would mess up the medical. You know, and that's another thing. We're socially engineered to trust in those that are in authority, doctors, police, and things like that. We forget that they're human, and we don't take that in consideration. And a lot of times they make their jobs much harder. Another thing about social engineering, we are socially engineered to believe that, that the doctors actually themselves save us. But it is not that the doctors themselves save us. The doctors advance themselves intellectually and understand how to use certain substances of this world in order to treat issues. So it still goes back to the natural resources that we need to be able to execute in order to sustain our lives. But people forget that. They forget the reason why they go to work and earn is to take that paper money back to the doctor and say, give me that, which somebody within 4 to 5 people from me went and dug up so you can have that medicine. We forget that. And so we are helping these mad scientists create the reality that they visualize. And the reality doesn't include the majority of humanity. It doesn't take the majority of humanity's well-being into consideration. And I do believe that is, yes, where are you going? You got money? Yes. She got money, yeah. Y'all hold on. Gotta get on it. You want something from the store? What I get? What you want to do? Where y'all going, that way or that way? You want something from the store? We don't have nothing to drink. Okay. What you going to get? Can you see what I am on here? Y'all know what that is? No. Y'all can't. That's Dr. Frankenstein. I'm about to say that. I can't. I should have. I said his head. Oh, you can't see a black box? Oh, I can tell by his shoulders. They said they wouldn't let me make an oval. Ooh, let me Frankenstein. It ain't close enough to you. Don't roll your head back, y'all. Okay, yeah. I need something. I don't know what. Yeah, we eat chips and donut. Maybe a Hershey's with almonds. Okay, that's all. Okay, yes. Please be careful. I don't know why you always got to go out when it get late. Y'all just make me mad. So we right between the streets. That's when and money go out. Yeah. Huh? Okay, here comes that. Don't let that one out. Oh, y'all not walking? No. Who walked out there? Myself. He saw my sign? Yeah. Because I made a sign that said, quiet. I'm live. Okay, y'all. Hi, Twinsel. How you doing? Okay. Before I was interrupted, I was about to do the last example of being socially engineered. And it is about many of us in humanity have been socially engineered, remember, to think a particular way, so we act a particular way. And many of us have been socially engineered to seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. And then we were led to believe that everything that we need would be added unto us. That is a form of social engineering. The different doctrines associated with religion are ways to social engineer and to have it be reiterated or repeated over and over and over again. And not only does it reinforce the social engineering, it also quickens the social engineering to be handed down to the next generation. Now, what were we social engineered from? What would have been the norm, possibly? Possibly, the norm would have been to learn from just life itself, and others' lives. You live, you learn. It's trial and error. Guess who that is teaching you? Yes, it's the absolute. It's God. It's divinity. God and divinity, one and the same, I don't care what you call it, has a direct connection to us in which it teaches us through, again, it's this trial and error. If it hurts, it's wrong. If it sustains you, if it sustains somebody else, if you witness that, then it's good. And that relationship right there, that teaching relationship, is what was your religion. It should have been a religion, or your spirituality. It should have been your spirituality or your spiritual connection with divinity. And the religion is the practice of what you have learned. If it's good, then you partake. If it's not, then you shy away from it. It was that simple. But due to social engineering, due to some narcissistic people in power, whether it's an elitist, a genius, an intellectual superior person, they decided it was better that they modify us in order to help them, again, do what? Create the reality, the vision that they dream of. In closing, why have I been discussing social engineering? It is because the astrological energies spotlight social engineering. Because, or sociology, which is the study of people's societies. And it's, spotlighting it because remember, we have and are helping to create our new paradigm. The reality we will be forced to live in. And we must know how it came into being. During this live stream, we discovered that the majority of humanity has been modified, socially engineered, and the reality that we will be living is a manifestation of these insane scientists' vision. It is really not ours, but the only way that we can correct what we will experience soon and very soon is to stand up and take our power back, which means that we have to make the corrections for any errors that we see manifest, that we see in our reality, that which becomes our 3D. And a lot of those changes that we need to make are going to take a lot of, what they call it, grits. What is it called? Not grit. Grit. It's going to take a lot of grit. It's not going to be easy at all. Because not only are we dealing with the physical, we are actually dealing with our eternal souls. Thank y'all. Have a great night. I'll be back in a minute. Got to take a bathroom break, and then we'll read some tarot cards. Until next time, bye.